Here we go. Thank you for joining us on the N2 for Game YouTube channel. This is the first match of our team challenge. The team consists of me, my teammate Zach, N2 for Game, and then two other players, Corey and Locke. You will be seeing those matches elsewhere. I am playing Eternatus. My opponent's wishing me good luck. And let me pull up his deck list. So my opponent is playing ADP. And I'm having trouble making this out. Resolution on this display is a little low. Okay, I see it now. So my opponent is Sudowoodo, and he is playing ADP. So I have the fortune of going first. My Eternatus list is pretty vanilla. This is what I've been telling my teammates the whole time. You know, it's just plain Eternatus, no Slowbro, no... I mean, the spiciest thing in there is, you know, it's got hammers, and it's got 3 hammers instead of 4. Didn't find room for the 4th hammer. And it's got reset stamp. But so, this opponent, this is the first week of the Team Challenge events. And he does a Intrepid Sword. No turn 1 attack for him, unfortunately. Because with ADP, you know, you can... Oh, and I hammered him. Awesome. And I'm attaching him, seeing if I can go for the turn 1 Eternatus VMAX, and it looks like I didn't get it. But yeah, with ADP-zation, you try to use the Metal Saucer, get energy on a benched metal type, use Energy Switch to move the metal onto the ADP, and then attach manually a water to the ADP. Unfortunately, he did not pull it off. Building Spite there. And I decide, hey, why not? Let's put a damage counter on there, because if you bring the Zation down to 210 hit points, 210 is a multiple of 30. And thus you would only need 7 Pokemon in play with Eternatus VMAX's attack. And I'm kind of in a pickle here because I don't have any more spots on my bench for another Crobat. And the game prompts you to click on Done. Yeah, it's probably, even if you don't have an energy there. So it took me a second there. But here we are. My opponent's starting his second turn and still... unlikely to get the turn 1 Altered Creation, but maybe he'll get it. My opponent is running 2 Marnie. The Eternatus deck generally doesn't get big hands, so the Marnie isn't going to hurt that much. I don't think it will. He's got 3 water energy instead of 2, which I think is a good choice for ADP decks. I don't play ADP decks with just 2 water energy, because if one's prized and one gets hammered, that's bad. I think if you run 2 of a card in your deck, the chances of both of them ending up in your prizes are like less than 1%, but one of them ending up in your prize is significantly higher than 1%. Don't quote me on that. But I'll cite my sources. I'll put that in the video description. Odds of prizes. It was a Pojo.com article from many years ago. So my opponent's got the metal attachment to the active, so no Metal Saucer action, Energy Switch action for a turn 1 Altered Creation. He does Intrepid Sword again, and I've got Marnie to make his hand smaller. you know, I might just play it, but I think at this point I'm just itching. I'm itching for that Eternatus VMAX, so I just forget about it. I think I'm just looking for something that's disposable, because I'm about to yeet the hand with Professor's Research and Building Spike. Always Building Spike. It doesn't cost anything. You just do it every turn. Okay, and I do go with the money to make my opponent's hand smaller. We'll see if I get that VMAX. And, oh man, I whiffed it again. But the Great Ball could help. And we are still stuck. Man, this game is just not going fast enough for either of us. Isn't that ridiculous how now in the game, if you're not swinging for these huge numbers, like your game is considered a slow game. You know, if you're not swinging for huge damage by like the third turn or the second turn even. So my list runs 4 Marnie, 4 Professor's Research. I generally have draw supporters in hand when I need them, but clearly this turn is not the turn. So I'm just getting ready my Eternatus VMAX just in case my opponent gets into butt-whooping mode here. And I go for another Power Accelerator. So I've softened up my opponent's ADP. It's got 180 hit points left, notwithstanding some Mallow Atlanta action, which I don't think he has. No, my opponent is not running Mallow Atlanta. But he's got 2 Marnie, and there we go. There's his Marnie. He's got 2 Mawile. Mawile not all that helpful against Eternatus, because by the time you get out Mawile, late game, your opponent's already benched everything, right? Though there could be some hypothetical situation where your opponent has no Crobats in play and you need to force them to play a Crobat so you can boss's order it, and take your last 3 prizes off of a Crobat because you've altered creation. There are these hypotheticals, but so he's got the energy attachment, he's got the water and the metal, but looks like he's pondering his next move. So we do have match timers have been turned on, I believe. So, we can't just sit around forever. And he's attaching, he's got a 3rd energy now, and he just goes for Ultimate Ray. I guess at this point he decides he's lost so much already, he's lost so much momentum, that he needs to boom, boom, boom. He needs to get going. And Great Ball. Do I finally get the VMAX? I do. And not a difficult choice at all. And I switch out for the one that hasn't been damaged. And I've got 2 energy in hand, so I am ready to go. And I think I'm just short of a knockout here. Wait, nope, I've got 6 Pokemon in play. So I have just enough for a knockout. I guess I'm pondering the boss's order. See, it's just trying to think of what advantage that would give me, which is not a lot, really. Notice my opponent's powered up his Zacian V that doesn't have any damage on it. So good choice. So I go for the Dread End on the active for 180 and the knockout. I think I was just verifying the math there. I mean, it's really easy retroactively, you know, watching this match. It's really easy to look at the math, but, you know, while you're in the heat of the moment, you're always second-guessing yourself. This card, Eternatus VMAX and Gardevoir GX, were really helpful cards in memorizing multiplication tables for multiples of 3 or 30 if you want to be technically correct. And there we go. I get another Pokemon, a beautiful Yveltal, so I can make my bench 6 cards, make my total Pokemon in play 7 for 210 damage, and he gets rid of it with a Marnie, and that is all of the Marnie now. And I've got 7 Pokemon in play. So, not sure why I pinged the active there with the Galarian Zigzagoon, because I didn't need to, but there we go. I've got Eternatus VMAX. I don't remember if I evolved my Eternatus VMAX. Building Spite. Like this video if you think I put a Galarian Zigzagoon damage on the wrong Pokemon. So I'm still pondering my future turns here, and I decide, yeah, okay, I'll go for it. It's not like I have another Eternatus in play, you know, I'm not going to get another chance to evolve. And I Quick Ball for Yveltal. Just in case this active Eternatus VMAX dies, I guess. Oh, no, okay. And there we go. I do 240, which is more than enough. So my opponent's not playing Metal Goggles, so I don't have to worry about funky math there at all. So my opponent has an Altered Creation, and when this active Eternatus VMAX gets knocked out, hypothetically, I don't have to worry because I've got another Eternatus VMAX that is just going to knock out anything. But yeah, Big Charm and Metal Goggles have always been problematic cards. He's not playing Big Charm either. Always been problematic cards for me, just because it throws off the damage calculation. You know, and that effort, you know, that energy I'm putting into calculating how much damage my attack is going to do, I'd rather use that to, you know, think about actions, you know, in future turns. And he Mawiles me for almost no gain. I mean, this is just last-ditch efforts, I think. Opponent does a Dark Asset, doesn't seem to get much useful off of it. Goes for a Dead Change. And a Hammer would be problematic on my benched Eternatus, but fortunately I do have an energy in hand, any Intrepid Swords, and that is game. They didn't have the attack. And I just go for the easy prize just for kicks and giggles. Dread End and knockout. So going 6-0 prizes against an ADP-zation deck is obviously a very difficult thing to do, but apparently I did it. And presumably my opponent is going to ask to go first. I actually don't remember. I'm watching this again and don't remember what he chose. Here we go. This is game 2. So I got an Eternatus start. You know, if this Great Ball doesn't give me a Crobat, that could be problematic. My opponent wants to go first. We'll see if he gets the turn 1 water attachment. Alright, so just metal. It's possible he doesn't have a water. It's possible that he does have a water, just doesn't want me to hammer him. So my list is playing 3 Boss's Order. Ooh, and I whiffed the Crobat. The 3 Boss's Order I don't think is relevant in this match, but in other recordings you will see the number of Boss's Order in my deck being a relevant factor. Anti-Power Accelerator. Feels bad, man. So these team challenge matches have been a best of 3 format, and you do play until there's a resolution. Calling time and making the player stop at the end of X minutes, that has not been a factor. So you'll see in some of these recordings that when I'm in a situation where I am most certainly going to lose the game, or my opponent is almost certainly going to lose the game, you're going to see situations where we don't concede right away. We don't concede right away to save time. We do want to have, we want to exhaust all of the possibilities, including a 1% chance that we might win the game, especially since our teams are relying on us. My own convenience and saving time for myself, that is certainly something that's important to me, but if my teammates are relying on me to win or to lose, they're relying on me to win in order to make it to the next round, then yeah, I do want to exhaust all of my options every game and try to win as many games as possible. I get heads on the hammer and I go for the ADP. I consider that to be more critical than the Zation. getting hit by a Brave Blade next turn is not as scary as Altered Creation, in my opinion. Also, it's possible he doesn't have a way to get the ADP out of active position. Now, if he does, you know, and he has energy for the Zacian V, then, well, that's a knockout on my Eternatus, because it's only got 220 HP. Let's see if my opponent railroads me. Oh, he's got it. He's got it. So, and this is looking pretty bad this game, so I send up the single prizer because obviously I can't attack with Eternatus VMAX this turn. So yeah, right now I'm just trying to slow my opponent down. There we go, and I prevent him from one-hit KOing my Eternatus by evolving it into a VMAX. And do I try to slow him down with I'm checking Mawil's retreat cost. I guess I'm thinking about slowing him down with a boss's order, but I'm like, no. Brave Blade requires him to switch out somehow. You know, a retreat and a switch, or a Malalena and a switch, or a retreat. Some combination of switching it to the bench and getting it back in order for him to use Brave Blade 2 turns consecutively. So I decide to not use the boss's order. I'll save it for next turn. And it looks like he's invested in trying an Altered Creation at least. Alright, Cherish Balling, presumably to get a Dedenne, yep. Ah, and another ADP. Presumably he's just getting that to thin out his deck. Yeah, it seems every time I play ADP, I always have more ADPs than I need. And how many ADP does he have? He has 2. Oh, no. He bosses orders. And I don't think he has a way to Brave Blade this turn, but we're going to see. So, yeah, he thins out his deck by getting rid of the second ADP. That's what I would have done. And Metal Saucer for the Mawile. And the switch. And presumably he's going to retreat the Mawile, yep. And Brave Blade, boom, for 220. 230. Yeah, I think I might have said 220 in a previous turn there. Brave Blade does 230. Its HP is 220, and so I've got just a garbage hand there, and Marnie does not help me very much on that end. So there we go. So when he knocks out my Spiritomb, I've got a backup plan. I can send up the Zigzagoon, and I guess I'm just trying to soften him up, because he doesn't have energy on anything else except for that ADP, which I'm not scared of by this point because he's going aggro with the Brave Blade. And this is a creative choice, so to speak, with ADP decks. Certainly I've seen matches, and if you've played against ADP Zacian decks as well, you've seen matches where the opponent doesn't have a good path for a Altered Creation early in the game. You know, the deck gets clunky, the hands get clunky, and they opt to go for Brave Blades right away. So that is something that you do have to consider when going up against this deck. Just because they have an Altered Creation doesn't mean they're not going to win the game. It just means that they're probably not going to win the game. And this is like one of those things about banning ADP. That's been a big topic of conversation. It's the Altered Creation. That's the problem. That's the only problematic part of the deck. If you get rid of that, then you don't have to worry about banning anything else. And he gets off the Brave Blade with a switch. Excuse me. And I send up the Zigzagoon. Things are getting pretty desperate right now. I go for the Marnie. Probably not going to hurt my opponent all that much. But hey, there we go. I've got a fresh Eternatus V to start putting energies on. And I think I thin out my deck, yeah, with Great Ball. And just go for Zigzagoon and try to get as much as I can off this dark asset. And I'm thinking about thinning my deck even further with the switch, but I just go for it. And there we go, I get an energy. And I've got a Marnie for next turn, yeah, so I just go with the Eternatus V that has no damage on it. And I put damage on Mawile. And just hope my opponent doesn't draw the nuts here. Our opponents were in Canada. It is a bedroom community of Toronto. I could probably look up the name of the town, but Toronto, same time zone as us, so coordinating times was not an issue. I mean, coordinating time to play is always an issue, but you know, time zones were not a factor, I guess. So let's see here. Goes for a did a change. So I don't know if I said the format out loud, but so the format is both teams have 4 players. You pick 3 of them to play. They pick 3 of their players to play. And then those 3 players, they all play each other in every combination. Right? So that's a total of 9 matches. They're best of 3. It's a total of 9 matches. And the first team to win 5 matches wins you know, that round. So this is week 1, or round 1. I forget what they're calling it, but I'm just going to call it week 1. And the first team to win 5 matches moves on to the next round. So I'm going for the attack here. Trying to get my first prize here. So if I switch and send up a turn... Oh, no. Do I play the switch? I hope I played the switch. Yeah, because if I don't play switch, then I'm not attacking this turn. That Zigzagoon stays in the active spot. I guess I'm doing math or something at this point. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, I go for the Marnie. Interesting. Not sure why I did that. I would have... Oh, okay. I already did my energy attachment for the turn. Okay. So my opponent's gonna he's gonna ultimate ray on the Zigzagoon, I assume. And going to be one prize away from victory because he's already altered creation. But let's see if he has boss's order. Oh, there we go. So that's the end of the game. He boss's order up a Crobat, or no, the damaged Eternatus VMAX. And we go into game 3. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Like this video if you think that going aggressive with ADP is really weird. Here we go. So I opt to go first. It's Eternatus, right? It evolves. I need 2 energy attachments. Always want to go first with Eternatus. I'm running 1 power plant in this list. It has not been relevant yet, but my opponent is playing a Dedenne GX. I believe he's running 2, so that could always be a factor. Yeah, 2 Dedenne GX. And Mawile has an ability as well. So I go for the turn 1 Eternatus, and I do have an energy to attach to it. And I do get rid of an energy. I guess my assumption here is that I will have an energy off the Crobat next turn. And I'm just thinning out my deck. Okay, so I'm going for the Crobat this turn. You know, and I could have even played Switch there because the Eternatus isn't going to die the next turn. But there we go. So there's my Great Ball that I could hypothetically use to get a VMAX next turn. Also, the Marnie next turn could also get me the VMAX. So I just opt not to play anything else. I want to see what else my opponent's doing. Now I've got a fairly good hand. If he Marnies me, I could lose the Switch and potentially lose the turn 2 attack. My opponent is not playing Reset Stamp, so I don't have to worry about that. I mean, Marnie, the 2 Marnie in his deck are the only hand disruption he has. Of course, the real scary card is the 4 bosses orders. Nothing too scary about my opponent's list, really. He's got the, so he plays down Mawile. No effect there. He's got the Chaotic Swell, and that's the only stadium. You know, and that's something I've always been fascinated by. Just throughout the years, decks that don't benefit from stadiums. Because there have been a few eras, you know, a few pockets of time in this game where you have 1 or more competitive decks that don't get some serious advantage or even, you know, a moderate advantage from having a particular stadium in their list. But then with Chaotic Swell, that kind of changes the game, so to speak, because you've got... My opponent goes for an Intrepid Sword. It changes the game, so to speak, because if there are no stadiums that benefit you, but there are stadiums that could benefit an opponent, then you've got this Chaotic Swell to prevent them from getting the stadium they want in play. So there we go. I put down my power plant. My single stadium. It goes bye-bye. Presumably I play Switch here. Yeah. And I go for Marnie to see if I can get the knockout. I don't think I get it. I need 8 Pokemon in play. Oh, there we go. So the Zigzagoon is going to put 1 damage counter on. And then I've got 7 Pokemon in play. Guaranteed. And I'm just doing the math here, just making sure I've got exactly what I need. And Not sure if I go for a Crobat here or I save it for later. Yeah, there we go. Save those 2 cards in hand for later. So there we go. I've got an early advantage here. My opponent could alter creation here, but I was about to say I could knock it out next turn. Not if I don't have a 4th Galarian Zigzagoon. You need that Galarian Zigzagoon to do 280, because the cap on damage here is 270 with 9 Pokemon in play, and then you need that additional 10th damage would be the Galarian Zigzagoon. Oh, and he goes for a Dedenne, and he got rid of my power plant. He got with Chaotic Swell. So boom, maybe he's gonna pop off this turn. Ooh, Crushing Hammer, and my opponent's running 4 Hammer. And I think the Hammer flips become relevant in another match. But let's not, you know what, I'm not going to look at other matches lists right now. I'm not going to get into it. Not going to jump into the future here. Which ADP build do you think is the best? Post in the comments. We love getting comments. It makes the machine happy. There we go. We got another energy card in there for potential Metal Saucer. Does Dark Asset. And there we go. Looks like he got the water finally. He's going for an altered creation. Looks like he's pondering something for a few seconds here. Ooh, and let's see what happens with this hammer. Feels bad, man. Now, the good news is, even if, because I still have like an extra turn here, so to speak, because he's not doing damage this turn. So I've still got 2 turns to attack the ADP and knock it out. Unless, of course, he somehow gets rid of the other energy on my Eternatus VMAX. Oh, and he's got that balloon ready. He's getting ready to get a turn where he Brave Blades, you know, switches, retreats the Dedenne. So he's getting prepared in advance. So I've got some choices here. I need to get the energy, so presumably I'm getting a Crobat. Because I'm thinking about that Zigzagoon, right? Because I really want to I really want to KO my opponent's ADP. And I've got Hammer there, which is beautiful. I need to get heads on Hammer. I need an energy. Oh, there we go. And I get rid of the water. And at this point, I can pray for a Crobat off of the Marnie, or I can just play down Eternatus V, and I'm actually not sure what I want here. Getting Pokemon out of the deck is easy with Eternatus. I mean, I've got... actually don't know how many Pokemon I have total. And what I'm looking at right now doesn't tell me what the number is, but it's a lot. So I just hope to draw into the energy, and I do. I draw into 3, which is statistically unlikely, but I get it. And I get the KO. Ooh, beautiful math. And so there we go. I only need 1 more prize. My opponent is going to keep putting up a fight here. And my opponent's going to do Mawile for big damage here. And I think I just do a few more things just, you know, just to be thorough. Oh, okay, I attach energy, yeah. And I don't even bother with the building spite. And I do 270, and I take my last prize. And we go into the next match. So, just like any other match, there were a few challenges. There were a few difficulties, but we overcame them. Here we go. This is my next opponent, Bulba Muffin. My opponent is playing Luke Metal, Melcario, some people call it, Zacian. 2 Melcario, 4 Zacian, and 2 Zamazenta V, which comes quite in handy against a variety of opponents. So my opponent's playing a lot of annoying cards here. And, you know, I don't know, this is one of the advantages of recording it and then recording commentary, you know, in post. You know, hearing, you know, a person's, I don't know if anger is a good word, but, you know. But, you know, getting upset at not drawing the right card or coming up against an insurmountable challenge, you know, actually maybe that's justification for recording commentary while the game is still playing, actually. But, you know, right now I've got a cool head about it, even though this was a tough match. My opponent's got Chaotic Swell. So just like my last opponent, only 1 stadium. And I believe there are going to be some turns where, you know, attacks get wasted, so to speak, because I don't get prizes because he's got 2 Lily's Pokédoll. So Quick Ball, he's not getting Crobat to set up, or Dedenne GX, because he has none. His deck has only, what is that, 9 Pokemon. 9's not an unusual number, not for this kind of strategy. My opponent's trying to do damage and stall me out. So the primary attacker in my deck is a VMAX. Zamazenta V is immune to Vs, or to VMAXs, but not Vs. So the problem with Eternatus V is its attack. It's attack that does more than 30. I don't even remember what the attack name is, but it costs 4 energy. You don't want that. But it's it is an option. Another option is to attack with Spiritomb. And I think I do try it at some point during the match. So I've got a few things. I love it when every card is highlighted in your hand. So I could play all of them. Could and should are different words, though. So I just put down the Crobat just to fill out my bench. I know I'm not gonna get the dark asset off of it. So the hammer flip fails. And I think I attached a Crobat, because attacking with Crobat is also an option. It does 70 plus poison. Now 70 is still a low number, relatively speaking, in which they can just Mallow and Lana that away. And my opponent's running 2. I don't think he has a way to get it back, though. No Pal Pad. Another interesting thing in my opponent's list is Galarian Stunfisk, which does not factor into this game. So there we go. With a deck with 4 Metal Saucer, you know, that's a predictable outcome, is getting that early Brave Blade off. Building Spike. I guess I'm just praying that my opponent doesn't have a way to switch the Oh, okay, yeah. I'm going aggressive here. I am trying to kill this Zamazenta V because I know it's problematic and I want it to go away. But he's got so many ways to switch. He's got switch and 2 Mallow and Lana. No air balloon, but hey, there we go. And he's got the discard, so he's going to heal too. Feels bad, man. Hit that like button if you're going to miss the tag team supporters. I will. I will when they rotate out. Won't miss Mallow and Lana, though. Keep that in the realm of expanded. So I'm out of Crobats. So I keep the Eternatus VMAX just active, I guess. Oh, no, I don't. There we go. I can't attack with anything this turn, so I just set up the Zigzagoon and I don't know. I just hope my opponent whiffs for a while I recover. You know, I have to play this match out, this game out, right? Just because this is a team effort. My teammates are relying on me, and we're not worried about the match going to time. If this was a Pokemon Regionals, yes, I would have scooped by now to go to Game 2. Oh, I said he had no way to get back to Mallow and Lana. My apologies. He has Cynthia and Caitlin, and I think just one. Cynthia and Caitlin, a card with a wonderful mechanic. You know, the clause in the card that says it can't target the same card. Every game designer should take note. And my opponent knows he's going to win. So he bosses order, and I let him know I want to go first in Game 2. And it begins. Game 2. Let's see if I can make this one a little bit better. So let's start with Eternatus. This could be good or bad. Just really relying on my opponent to brick. I get no energy attachments. And I think what I'm doing here is just putting down a benched Pokemon. Just anything other than Eternatus. Or no, okay, I guess I do go for the Eternatus. So I do need an Eternatus VMAX in play to knock out the Zacian Vs. And I'm just trying to make my hand as small as possible, and I go for the Crobat. So I can't play the Hammer, since I went first. And let's see if I get an energy. I get 2. Hooray. And I could go for the Capture Energy, yep. And I decide to go for the Great Ball. Just, you know, if I thin out my deck by 1 Pokemon, that reduces my chances of getting a Pokemon from the Great Ball. So I just go for the Great Ball first, and then get what I want off of the Capture Energy. So I ping the Zacian V. And I've got a good hand going into next turn. Energy attachment to the active. Play Professor's Research and presumably knock out the Zacian V. I say presumably like I wasn't there. You know, I'm talking about the hypothetical. I'm talking in the hypothetical about my own actions. Oh, Marnie, that hurts. Hypothetical about actions that have already happened in the past. So that is a much worse hand. So my opponent's got 4 Marnie. Very well timed, Bulba Muffin. Good on you. And Intrepid Sword. So I draw into a Professor's Research, so it's not all a nightmare. But I do need, now that I've lost an energy here, I do need to get going. I need something to recover from this, and I need some means of taking out the Zamazenta V. And since it has metal goggles, I mean, I have to... Oh, and I can't Galarian Zigzagoon put damage counters on it. I have to find some way of... I've got to find some way of doing damage. Wow. So I think I just lay down the other Zigzagoons. And I guess it doesn't matter who I put it on because the metal goggles are on both Pokemon. Which is funny. The game knows that. It doesn't even ask me for a target when I play the Zigzagoon down. Look at all this foolery my opponent's doing. And he's about to kill me with the Zacian V. That hurts. So I've got the kill on the Zacian V, but, you know, after that, I've got 2 Zamazenta to deal with. Do I discard hand? I do not. And I do 270 damage with 9 Pokemon in play, minus the 30 for Metal Goggles, which is still enough. And here we go. So I've got to be able to, you know, take out the Zamazenta V. So in the in battle styles, which is not legal in this event, but in battle styles there is a supporter. Gosh, I'm trying to think what the supporter is. I think it's one of the Sinnoh Elite Four. The supporter says, like, prevent all effects of attack from, you know, I should probably look at the card first, you know, before I tell you what it says, but but it would allow me to get through the Zamazenta V's ability when attacking with a VMAX. But I can't play that card because Battle Styles is not legal in this event. This was week 1 of the team challenge. Go ahead and tell us in the comments, what do you think the game most benefits from with the release of Battle Styles? I like Tapu Koko VMAX. That's my favorite card. It's not a meta game changing card, but I like it. So here we go. What am I going to do with this Zamazenta V? So I've got an Eternatus VMAX with 1 energy on it on the bench. I can attack with a Spiritomb. Do 100. Oof. That's not even half the damage I need to kill it. And my opponent could certainly play a Mallow and Lana again. And there we go. With Pokédoll, he goes from maybe not me drawing a prize next turn to me definitely not drawing a prize next turn. Because lots of stuff can knock out the Pokédoll, but nothing can draw a prize from it. And I'm building Spite again. Why not? And I'm just preparing my Spiritomb. Why not? And wow, that's cutting it close. But I feel particularly good that turn. I'm able to take out the Zamazenta V. And if he kills this Spiritomb, I've got another Spiritomb on bench. I can always use this Darkness Energy in my hand to attach to a Crobat and try to finish off the opponent's Zamazenta V. I'm looking at Stunfisk. I'm like, wait a minute, how is this going to help him? And it's my turn. And I don't have boss's order. And I kind of don't want my opponent to draw into something good, so I believe I held off on the Marnie, because his hand is only one card. So there we go, fully powered, 2 Spiritomb. And who am I attaching the energy to? There we go, Crobat. And do I go for the Professor's Research? No. So 160 for 1 energy. That's dope. No prizes. Let's hope my opponent didn't draw the nuts. Oh my gosh, he got a Professor's Research. Oh, and it has a Cape of Toughness on it too. He's running 2 in this deck. Metal Saucer. So still no boss's order. Decide to let the Stadium War end. And I just Marnie, see if I can get a boss's order for next turn. Or something. It's something to get an advantage. And there we go. So the Crobat is ready to go for next turn. And the Stunfisk is still alive because of the Cape of Toughness. And I totally ignore the effect getting rid of my energy card. Oops. So what do you think about Zamazenta V? With all these VMAXs in the game, especially with battle styles being legal, now on PTCGO, and being legal, in tournaments, what do you think about this Zamazenta V? Is it going to be a problem in the months ahead? I think so. If you agree with me, post in the comments. Or if you disagree with me, also post in the comments. We want to hear from you. Make sure not to click on Building Spite, because that would be bad, and I lose my energy again, which is painful, but I deal with it. So we're getting into deck out territory here. My opponent's got 12 cards in deck. I have 10. And especially if my opponent sends up Pokédoll, right? Like, that's just another turn wasted. Yep, and he barely does anything. And I go for Marnie. I'm really digging for cards. And I switch. And this Spiritomb is going to die next turn, but at least I have, at least I have a Crobat on bench to attack with. And there we go. So now we're at 3-1 on prizes. And decking me out is a very realistic possibility for my opponent here. So Venomous Fang. And I feel good. My opponent can't one-hit knock me out. But at this point, I've lost energy. I've lost a lot of things. Oh, and my opponent's going to stall me out here. by sending up something that cannot retreat. Gonna need 3 energy. And I can't attack with it either because it's because of Zamazenta V's ability. I can attack, it just won't do anything. So I'm looking over my hand. I'm looking at my discard. I've used up all of my switch. Used up all of my boss's order, which is not relevant to the current situation, but you know, just saying I lost all my boss's order. I've got 5 basic energy in discard pile. 3 energy in play. Like, it's not looking good for me. And my energy, I've got 9 total basic energy. Capture energies in the discard pile. I play Great Ball and look at my entire deck. So, and here I'm just, you know, I'm just going through the motions at this point because I don't have any way to get this Eternatus VMAX out of active. And my opponent doesn't know that, but he can kind of guess. So I just say done and hope my opponent does something stupid, like, you know, like, you know, get my Eternatus VMAX out of the active somehow. And there we go. I got 4 cards left in deck. You know, I check again. There's no way. There's no switch, and there's not enough energy to retreat. I'm really digging. You know, that clock is ticking, and there's nothing for me to do. So I pass turn, and I don't get the pleasure of decking out. My opponent just takes his last 3 prices before I can do so. And there we go. My opponent 2-0'd me. Oh, and I have to select the Pokemon to discard. Gotta resolve all effects. But here we go. We're going to go on to next match. What did you think about that? Post in the comments. Here we go. So this is my final opponent. So I've won 1 match. I've lost 1 match. And this is my last opponent. I'm Pork Chop. So my opponent is playing ADP-zation. So we did win against ADP-zation earlier. And let's see if I can repeat this task. Got some options here. So I'm going first. I can always communication away something that I don't need right away. You know, get a Pokemon that I can play right away, right? And it helps me make my hand smaller for the purposes of Crobat. So I whiff the Great Ball. And I get rid of my reset stamp tier. But I am playing a second reset stamp. Reset stamp is the spiciest thing in my list. So just figuring out what else I need to bench. I'm building Spite first just so I don't forget. Yveltal, and then Dark Asset for 5. And there we go. There's my energy attachment, which I put onto the Eternatus V. And I'm feeling good about this. I've got the turn 1 energy attachment. My opponent starts with Crobat, which is bad. And my opponent's hammers. I'm looking for hammers on my opponent's deck list. I don't think he has any. No, he's got 2 Rusted Sword. That's kind of his special card there. But, yeah, hammers, no. I'm not seeing any Crushing Hammer. I have 3. He has 0. This list is running 4 Zacian V, 2 ADP, 1 Eldegoss, 2 Dedenne, 2 Mawile GX. So, nothing too interesting about this deck other than the lack of hammers. 1 Chaotic Swell as his stadium. So he gets off the Metal Saucer, Energy Attachment, and Intrepid Sword. He got the 3-fer. Unfortunately, he did not get the turn 1 Altered Creation. So I guess I get the Zigzagoon to thin out my deck, yeah. I really want that Eternatus VMAX, and I'm willing to sacrifice those 2 Boss's Order to get it. And there we go. There's my Eternatus VMAX, and my bench spots open up. And I don't think I pull off an attack this turn. And I just forego action until next turn. Already used my supporter. I played Professor's Research, and I get 2 more Professor's Research. What's the deal with that? The Rusted Sword is not going to play an impact in this game, right? Just it makes your 230 go up to 260. It doesn't affect anything in this match, but you know. I guess if you're going up against like something that's 270, like Mew Mew, going from 230 to 260 could make an impact, and then the 260, of course, would be 290 if you've altered creation, you know. And there we go. Altered creation. Now the fun can begin. And it looks like I've got the 9 Pokemon in play to be able to take out the ADP. And I've got the switch to be able to send the Galarian Zigzagoon to the bench. And I'm about to attach, but then I realize I've got the switch. And I can attach somewhere else. There we go. And then my last bench spot, boom. Stick it on the active. Yeah, there we go. I was a little afraid there that I didn't put it on the active. And my hand is so-so, but you know, I'll probably get some good cards off of this knockout here. 3 prizes. Give it to me. And okay, that was not that helpful, but you know, I have the advantage right now. My opponent's got a Pokemon V and a Pokemon GX with only 1 energy on it. So my board state is not too bad. I denied my opponent an ultimate ray, so that's always good. And he's putting his water on Mawile. So Mawile is not one-hit KOing the Eternatus VMAX. So if he chooses to attack with that, I'll just knock it out with Dread End, and then I need just one more prize to win the game, which should not be a problem. You know, and my opponent doesn't have hammers, so I'm not even feeling bad about getting set back a turn with Crushing Hammer. And boss's order. Ooh, my opponent's trying to slow me down, it looks like. Or just get a free prize. Get a free prize off of the Mawile. Yeah, and you know, if my opponent bosses orders again, like, yeah, he wins off of 2 boss order knockouts on a Pokemon a GX or a Pokemon V. And I don't have Reset Stamp or Marnie to try to lower my opponent's chances of getting that boss's order in hand. So, you know, I'm going to kill the... oh, let's see if I get heads. Yes! So I'm going to kill the Mawile. So obviously I want to get rid of the Zacian. But if my opponent was able to Metal Saucer onto Zacian V, then it manually attach, then he could certainly use Brave Blade next turn and kill my Crobat V or one of these Eternatus Vs that are unevolved. Kill it with Boss's Order, Brave Blade, and get his last 3 prizes. So a Crobat for 1, and it's a good card. But I do want to get rid of the Mawile, because it's very unlikely he'll be able to Brave Blade next turn, but if the Mawile lives, it can attack for sure, because it has the required 2 energy, so I get rid of the Mawile. And then whatever I want to take out next turn, I can, because I've got the boss's order. My opponent is not playing Reset Stamp, so I'm not worried about that. Let's see if I can do it. Let's see if I can pull off the ridiculous, or if my opponent can pull off the ridiculous double Metal Saucer play here. Double Metal Saucer, boss's order, kill a Crobat for game. Looks like he's thinning out his deck. He's playing 2 Dedenne GX. Yeah. So is he thinning out his deck for Dedenne Change? He is! There we go, Metal Saucer number 1. And it looks like my opponent's just not able to pull it off. Oh, boss's order to try to slow me down, right? But I've got Switch in hand, so it's not going to hurt me. The 4 Switch in this deck, let me tell you, you absolutely need all 4 Switch. Getting stuff, you know, this deck, like so many other decks, it's just so critical that you get those energy attachments when you need them. There's no energy acceleration in this deck for all practical purposes. I know that the V's first attack is energy acceleration, but you have to assume that you don't have that. So it's very critical to just attack when you can, and when you have something active that can't attack, it's just a big inconvenience, as it is with many decks. So the 4 switch is crucial. Never run 3. All right, so I kill it, and then I grasp victory. But that's game 1. We're moving on to game 2, and my opponent is, I think he's asking to go first. I actually don't remember. Here we go. This is... Oh, nope. Here we go. This is game 2. My opponent says he wants to go first. Don't like it, but I'll deal with it. Got a suboptimal hand here. Maybe I'll top deck something in my first turn, but boss's order turn 1, not helpful. The good news is I've got for the energy accelerator attack. I do have a second energy, so I know I'll be able to attach to the bench. Now, what would really be inconvenient is, oh, he gets off the water attachment. Good, good. What would really be inconvenient is if I attach that second darkness to my benched Pokemon, and then I don't get another darkness energy and somehow get the Eternatus VMAX. Like, oh, okay, never mind. That's just so bad. So I'm like, all right, I'll just slow down my opponent, try to prevent them from getting a turn 1 Alter Creation, Power Accelerator, and just hope I don't brick next turn. I've got 3 switch. That's wild. And if I get Professor's Research, I've got to get rid of 3 switch. I mean, it's bad, but I guess that's what I'll have to do. Oh, my opponent has the switch. I mean, he is running 4, I think. Yeah, he's running 4, so no surprise there. But, at least if your opponent has the switch that he needs to get out of the bind you're trying to put him in, at least you can say, well, I've forced him to exhaust resources. And that's always good. Your opponent having fewer resources is always a good thing. But of course, I'd rather have that Zacian V stuck inactive, not attacking. That would be preferable. Whew. Still not doing good. This is just brick city right here. And the good news is Ultimate Ray does not knock out Eternatus V. Oh, and I got to hit done, even though I've got no energy in hand. I think I understand why the developers made it that way. I think it's because potentially, hypothetically, you could have an energy card in your hand and not want to play it. And so that information needs to be masked from your opponent. And in that regard, I got to say that the creators of the PTCGO, they've done a good job at making sure private information stays private. Your hand is always private, and there's nothing really that I can think of that unnecessarily reveals the contents of your hands or traces of information about what's in your hand. I mean, like when you lay down a Pokemon, you have to hit to set up, you always have to hit done, regardless of whether there are additional Pokemon in your hand that you can put down. And that's just so your opponent doesn't know whether or not, it doesn't automatically skip that part. You have to hit done. So I guess your opponent doesn't know for a fact that you have no more basic Pokemon in hand. So that Great Ball wasn't too hot. I didn't get the Crobat. And I decided to save the Switch. I'm like, well, he just Ultimate Raid. He's going to kill me next turn no matter which Eternatus V I have in play. So I might as well have this one that's already damaged in active spot. So still not looking good. I've got no drive supporters yet. And this better give me a Crobat, and it doesn't. And the choice between Zigzagoon and Spiritomb at this point is, not helpful. But I go with Spiritomb. Power Accelerator. Oh, and I just decide to stall my opponent out. And here my opponent informs us that that one of my teammates has won. This is the final round of this team challenge event. My opponent has won a match, bringing our total number of team wins to 5, and therefore my team has won, and we don't need to keep playing. I tell my opponent that I want to just see how this thing ends, even though it's going very poorly, and it's probably boring for my opponent as it is for me. But there we go, Altered Creation, and a knockout there, and that is defeat. And we're supposed to go into game 3, but we don't, because we don't have to. So we just end it right there. But there we go. And if anyone's curious, I do have my opponent's deck lists and my teammates' deck lists. We end up winning 5 out of 9 matches, and that's it. And you'll see week 2 soon. Check us out on Twitch. Zach has been really active on Twitch, and I don't know a lot about Twitch, but he's been putting effort into this, and he's he's been publishing frequently, and I admire that. Saying I'm going to publish and then following through on it, which is so hard, especially with creative projects where you're not really guaranteed money. So go ahead, check us out on Twitch, and follow us on Twitter while you're at it too. Area Dose. Goodbye.